Good day, everyone. Welcome to Trig today. We are touching on the very basis of Trig. All right, for your lesson objective is the Trig review. So, we won't have time to do the ACT linear function modeling review. We won't have that time. That time is lost to us. Decimals review, that may be a video of its own to make. But we're going to be focused on Pythagorean theorem, trig ratios, and just ratios, period. There are those are the things that we are going to get into. All right, facts. Guys, quiz November 1st and the 2nd. That's when we will be taking quiz. Due to so much that we have to cover, Project 3 have to cease. You know how I usually give you guys time in the classroom to do that? I can't really give you that time. Unfortunately, I want to, but cannot. The difficult fight will happen. Fight for your grades. It's gonna get harder. I want you guys to just, fight for it. Stay on top of your stuff. Be about the three. Phones must be silenced and put in your somewhere being backpack, purse, what have you. Due to poor academic performance, music or the phones are no longer permitted. Also, districts is not allowing us to just let y'all just chill with music. I disagree with that notion. I do, but I can't do nothing about it, of course. Participation laws are required and must be done daily. So, participation laws, again, all they are is just, showing evidence of what you have learned, what you talked about, demonstrating this, what you know. I know so far I haven't gave you guys backyard participation laws, but I will. I'll be passing them back out to y'all. All right. No compliance does affect academic performance. When you guys are not, doing everything else, and then when it gets to me, I gotta keep moving. I need for you guys to try to be with me or get lost or get left behind. All right. News. Tutoring will occur today from 3:30 to 4:15 Monday, Wednesday. Lesser credit work would be offered, so I can't throw in a whole lot of extra credit for you. I won't have that luxury. More visitors. I don't know why I got visitors, but visitors will come and dictate grades. So that means like someone come in your classroom, that's an issue that they see, they're gonna call it out to me. They're gonna expect the consequence of it happening. So of course, in public, I know what to do. Get your stuff together, and that's just that. All right. So try to be on top of it. Yeah, two makeup work assignments will make up one assignment. And the reason why I'm doing that because I know some of you guys like, I want to just do my work because I'm missing a bunch of days, so I'll just stay in the third. That won't work. Now, if you got a excuse absence and you got to excuse the day of, then this does not matter because I'm gonna give you, the assignment the time you need. But again, I gotta get notification through J Campus to get that taken care of. Carton skill is measure of an effort. I'm doing my work will not help you this 9 weeks. You gotta show me a little bit more than just you doing your work. You really gotta show that level of skill. And some of you guys, like class 1A, that little group of people, you guys are tearing it up. Like, oh my god. Whoa. I was impressed. You literally showed out. And don't forget, even while you're absent, you are still responsible for the work. So please, please, please be on top of it. All right. All right. ACT review. So rates, ratios. I wanted to bring this out to you guys because look, this is something that is going to be on your ACT. The district has been kind of share this, additional resource that I am using to get you guys practice for this. So, in case you forgot, rates, rates are the ratio between two related quantities which have different units of measurements. Rates are often much expressed as something per something, which is most common rates we hear every day, be it expressed as miles per hour for driving or beats per minute for heart rate. Did you not know your grades are also a rate? I want you to go read, if you choose to, research why grade is a rate. A grade is a rate. I want you guys to look into all that. All right. So let's go talk about Mr. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson wants to donate $1 million of his game checks to the Boys and Girls Clubs in Baltimore. If his average annual salary for a game season is 2,367,912 distributed evenly per game, how many games will he have to play until he is able to meet his $1 million goal? All right, so look, the first thing I did is just so you guys could notice, I gave you guys a place value chart. And this is just important for you guys to kind of get the help you need. All right? That's why I want you to, look into these allergies. All right, so let's go ahead and before we do this problem, let's just talk about it. So, what is this problem about? I'm not asking you to solve, I'm not asking you for numbers. I'm asking you to tell me what's the problem about. I'm not even asking you to tell me what is the problem asking you to do. So from reading this, the problem is about Lamar Jackson wanting to donate $1 million of his game checks to the Boys and Girls Club in Baltimore. And we know that his annual salary. Well, no, you don't pause it right there. You don't even need to even talk about his average yet. Just talk about what this is about. He just wanted to just give $1 million to the Baltimore club. So that's what this problem is about, right? Now, let's go ahead and look at this problem again and let's highlight, specific numbers. The 16 game season is 2,367,912. And then we also got $1 million. So those are the numbers to be played with. All right. So now let's look at what is the problem. Now it's asking us to do. We got to find out how many games will he have to play until his goal is met. Okay, so we did the three reads. So the first read, when we read the problem was about Lamar Jackson just want to give $1 million to the Boys and Girls Club. The second read, we looked for numbers, in which we talked about for 16 games, this 2 million and then a million. And now we know that we got to figure out how many games for it to play for him to reach $1 million. to give, that is. So let's set this up. Nice. So you're dealing with rates, right? Rates, proportion, slope, all of that. So let's create a rate. What are these rates about? His salary and his games. Salaries and games. Or money and games, rather. All right. So they said for assisting games, is for a 16 game season, he makes that 2,367,912. And of course, it is money per the 16 games. Okay? But you got to set up another proportion or another ratio. And this one's going to be, because it's games, money over games, so it's $1,000,000 over X. All right, let's multiply it together. We get 2,367,912 X equals 16 million. And when we divide both sides by 2 million, we get X to be 6.75. So let's pause for a second. Now, when you are dealing with a real life situation, because the game is asking you about how many games, can you play can you play 6 and 75 hundredths of a game? No. So in real life, when you have this situation like this, you always round up. So the answer to this will be 7. All right. All right. So let's talk about this particular problem. So for a certain company, a train coming from New York to Washington, D.C. takes 5 hours to travel 230 miles. A train company is able to complete the same journey in 1.5 hours. How much faster is the new company train in terms of per hour? All right, so let's do our reads, get our information. We read. So what is this problem about? You got a train coming from New York to DC, and you got one train, you got two trains, one train, and then you got a new train. All right. So what numbers do we have to contend with? Now let's get with the details. One train takes 5 hours to travel 230 miles. The new train travels the same journey, 230 miles is that same journey, as only 1.5 hours. Okay, so that's 2 reads I did. I really wanted to get what the story about. Then I got the details, so now I'm going to look at it again, and I'm looking for what is the problem asking me to do. How much faster is the new company train in terms of miles per hour. Okay, so I got my 3 pieces of information. So let's do it. 230 divided by 5. And when we divide that, we get 46. All right. But before we continue, let's erase something right quick. So with these kind of problems, when you're dealing with rates, just create your rate. So it tells you miles per hour, so miles over hour. All right. Now we got something. So we know what our rate should be. So let's do it. 230 divided by 5, because it's 230 miles in 5 hours. That's 46. So even 46 miles per hour. One train did, and then the other one, which is 230 also, because they went the same distance. It just went with a difference, went a little bit faster. 1.5 hours. So when you divide that, you get 1.53.3. It gonna keep rounding. I mean, keep going off, repeating itself. So you could just leave it as 153.3. You could do that. Now, it tells us how much faster the new train is from the other one. So 153.3 minus 46. And you should get 107.3. And that point 3 is 3/10. So 107 and 3/10 miles per hour. All right, y'all. It's not so bad. Not so bad at all. All right. So let's move on to the next team. All right. Mary bikes to school every morning. It takes her 40 minutes to travel 5 miles. What is Mary's average rate of speed in miles per hour on her trip to school? All right, y'all. So this problem, it could be pretty confusing because they're 40 minutes. Because you got to think about the rate that you're looking for is miles over hour. All right. So how many miles she went? She went 5 miles. What about hour? 40 minutes. I chose not to do the read of this one like I did the other 2 problems because this one's a little bit more straightforward. But it's hard because you got 40 minutes. 4 minutes is not an hour. So we gotta have to think this through a little bit. So before you put a rate together, so how many minutes are there in an hour? There are 60 minutes for an hour. 60 minutes for 1 hour. So for the 60 minutes, she did 40 minutes. All right. Can I simplify 40 over 60? Well, I could simplify it to 4 over 6, but I could even simplify that because they have a greatest common factor of 2, and I get 2/3. Okay, now we converted that 40 minutes into a fraction because 40 minutes is a fraction. 4 minutes is 40 over 60. All right. And again, because 4 minutes is less than 1 hour, that's why we do that. So let's do it. Because we still got to divide. So it's going to be 5 divided by 2/3. So of course you want to rewrite that. 5 divided by 2/3. And you know how we deal with division. Keep the 5, change the sign, flip the fraction. So 5 times 3 is what? 15. And we know for a fact you always put 1 underneath and hold on so you multiply across. 1 times 2 is 2. What's 15 divided by 2? 7.5. There we go. Find percentages. So look, next class period, we're going to touch into that, all right? So we're going to touch into all of this. Do not worry about this. You can see this again in the next video. You're going to see that too. So anything with all of this, percent change, we're going to with all of that later. Right now, we're going to be dealing with the Pythagorean theorem, and this is something that you guys did either with Miss Dewey, Mr. Barrow, or Miss Meyer. So you know a thing or two about Pythagorean. All right. So what is the length of the hypotenuse? Well, you gotta set this up. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Because that's the Pythagorean theorem formula. So remember, A, B, C. So we know that A is what? A is 6 squared. What do we know about B? B is what? 8 squared. 8 squared equals C squared. So 6 squared plus 8 squared is what? So before we do that, let's review. 6 squared is what? That's just 6 times 6, which is 36. So you get 36. And then 8 squared is 8 times 8, which is 64. 36 plus 64, and then square both sides. So 36 plus 64 is 100 equals c squared. All right, so next thing you want to do, square root both sides. The square root cancels the square, which gives you c. The square root of 100. Remember, when we're dealing with the square root, you try to figure out what number, what two of the same numbers multiply by themselves give you 100. And that's 10 times 10, because 10 times 10 is 100. So, put my final work here. And you know, anytime I put those 3 circles, that means Mr. Harris finished. So 100 equals C, or C equals 100. I mean 10. It's 10, y'all. I'm tripping. Not 100 is 10. It is 10. 10 equals C or C equals 10. It doesn't matter how you write the order, it still means the same thing. C is 10. All right? Let's keep going. All right. Now you got something a little bit different to contend with. All right. Still the same thing. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's still happening. A squared. I don't know what A squared is. Do I know what B squared is? I do. 12 squared equals 13 squared. So A squared plus 144 equals 169. All right, I know for a fact that you guys are still struggling with equations. So one of the things that I'm going to do, I was going to give you some equations to solve because that got to happen. All right, so let's go ahead and get through this. So let us subtract. So let us rewrite this. A squared plus 144 equals 169. And again, if you are struggling with this, you do have equations to solve. So let's do it. So that 144 turn to a negative 144. Because you got to subtract both sides to cancel things out and to get this guy by itself. So 169 minus 144 is what? 25. A squared. Okay, square both sides. A is by itself. A equals 5. And that is my answer, y'all. And that's how you do the problem just like that. And again, you will see this on ACT and just keep going. All right. If you guys if you guys are struggling through this in any means, please, 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 just talk to me. Okay? Nicely done, y'all. I know that Miss Dewey, Mr. Barrow, and Miss Meyer taught you well on these things. All right, so you guys can kind of try this out on your own. I personally do not have the time for it. This is something that I will put into another Kahoot for you to just try out. And that question, you don't have to worry about it. All right, trig ratios. All right, so we did the Pythagorean. Now we got to connect this to the trig ratios. And again, if you do not know any of this because you have not had a teacher, please don't feel bad, y'all. It's never worth it. All right. So let's find sine of angle D. All right. But in order for us to do this, we have to, know the triangle because it's placed differently. And so for us, that's a little hard thing to read. So the side that there's has the right angle, that's gonna be your opposite. So that's gonna be your A. So remember A is your opposite leg. All right. And it's opposite because is opposite from the it's away from the hypotenuse. Okay, this 5 that is next to the angle right there, that is B. That is called your adjacent leg because it's next to the right angle. And then this 13 that's away from this, that's away from the 90 degree, from the little right angle, that is called your hypotenuse because it's far away from the right angle. Again, you guys seen this before. All right. So now we got our pieces of information. Let's set up our trig ratio. In case you forgot, I will provide a cheat sheet for you for those who are taking my class online. In addition to my class people, you will have anchor charts. In addition to, you also have an online version of the cheat sheet. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. What's sine? So let's get our trig ratios done with. So sine is opposite over the hypotenuse. What about cosine? Adjacent over the hypotenuse. And what about tangent? Opposite over the adjacent. I almost said hypotenuse. Good thing I caught myself there. All right, so now we got all our trig ratios together. Now we could do it. So what's sine D? So we already identified what's what. So 12 is A, so that's the opposite leg, so because it's away from the hypotenuse. So that's going to be 12 over 13, because 13 is the hypotenuse, because again, 13 is away from that right angle. And it's away from 12. It's not touching it. All right. So what about if I was to ask you about cosine? Cosine of this is the adjacent, meaning next to the right angle, 5 over the hypotenuse, which is away from the right angle, 13. So what about the tangent, if I was to ask you that? Opposite, 12 over the adjacent, 5. And that's it for trig ratios. That's all you really have to do. All right. Just that. You could try this one. You will see this one in the Kahoot, or I will actually put this on a quiz. So anything I leave blank, you may want to, do on your own, because you may see it in the Kahoot. You may see in the quiz. Just saying. This one, same situation. All right. Yeah, homework. Yeah, it's already posted for you guys. Go ahead, have fun with it, get it done. Paper versions for those who are online. If for some reason Kahoot is not working for you, just do the other blank problems. Send it to me so I can help you with it. All right, y'all. Deuces.